So this past week during a live English lesson, someone asked about past modal verbs. You know, verbs like must have, should have, would have, and could have. And I gave a pretty good answer, I think. But I also made a note to myself that I should do a bit of a longer lesson on those 4 verbs. Modal verbs are a little bit tricky to learn, so in this lesson I'll give you kind of the basics for using those past modal verbs. And I'll try to give you some really good example sentences so you can see how they're used. So, welcome to this English lesson about past modal verbs. Let's start by talking a little bit about pronunciation. The correct way to write these would be must have, should have, would have, and could have. But as you know, English speakers like to talk really quickly, so we normally say must have, should have, would have, and could have. Sometimes you'll even hear people say musta, shoulda, woulda, and coulda, but that's very, very informal, but still quite common in spoken English. If you happen to see must of, or should of, or would of, or could have, that's actually wrong. The correct way to make the contraction is must have, should have, would have, and could have. So that's a little bit of information for you about pronunciation. Let's move on and start talking about how to use these past modal verbs. Let's start by talking about must have. We use must have when we notice something in the present, when we see or hear something, and we decide that something else happened that caused that situation. We draw a conclusion. Here are some examples. I could say this: there are puddles on the ground, so it must have rained last night. If I wanted to say it quickly, though, I could say, there's puddles on the ground, so it must have rained last night. I could say, there's a dent in my car, so someone must have hit it. I could say, all of the cookies are gone, so the kids must have eaten them. Although in our house, when all the cookies are gone, it isn't the kids that have eaten them. You can notice, though, that I am describing a situation, something that I'm currently seeing, and then I'm drawing a conclusion. I'm deciding that something else happened that caused that situation. Let's talk about should have. One of the ways I use should have is to describe a situation I'm in and then to talk about what I didn't do that resulted in me being in that situation. To talk about something that I didn't do in the past that would have prevented the situation that I'm in. Here are some examples. The van is out of gas. I should have bought gas yesterday. We're out of milk. I should have bought milk yesterday. Or I got a speeding ticket. I should have driven a bit more slowly. So you can see I'm describing a situation I'm in, something that's happening right now, and then I'm talking about something that I didn't do in the past, maybe even something I regret, especially with the speeding ticket example. I got a speeding ticket. I should have been driving more slowly. So when you use should have, you're talking about a current situation and then something you didn't do in the past that maybe you should have done. Let's talk about would have. One of the ways we use would have is to talk about something we didn't do in the past, and then we like to give the reason why we didn't do it as well. Here are some examples. I would have bought you a birthday present, but I didn't have any money. Notice I described the situation. I described the thing I didn't do, and then I give the reason. Here are a couple more examples. I would have loved to go to the concert with you, but I was too busy. I would have gone to work, but I was sick. So in all of these examples, we mention the thing that didn't happen, and then we give the reason why it didn't happen. This is a great structure for learning how to use would have when you're learning English. Let's talk about could have. One of the ways to use could have is to talk about something that was a possibility in the past, but you chose not to do it. Here are some examples. I could have bought you flowers, but I didn't feel like it. I could have gone to the gym, but I wanted to sleep in. I could have won the game, but I let him win. Notice in all those situations there was a possibility of something happening, but I chose to do something different. So it's a little different than would have. In these situations with could have, it's based on me choosing to do something because of how I felt or an action I took. So I could have bought her flowers, but I didn't feel like it. It's kind of mean, isn't it? I should have bought her flowers because she's awesome. Well, thank you for watching this introductory lesson on how to use some modal verbs in the past. This is a pretty big topic, so there's no way that one little lesson like this will teach you everything you need to know, but I certainly hope some of the examples I gave will help you as you continue to learn and practice your English. Remember, if this is your first time here, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if this video helped you learn some more English, and if you have the time, why don't you stick around and watch another English lesson.